Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has summoned 10 ambassadors from countries on the UN Security Council. The reason, to explain a UN resolution condemning Israel for building Jewish settlements in the occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem. It's a highly unusual move because one of those summoned was the American ambassador. The US is normally Israel's main backer at the UN, but this time the country chose not to use its veto. At his weekly cabinet meeting, Mr. Netanyahu, who also serves as the foreign minister, criticised the US, but he did praise the incoming Trump administration.
Over decades, American administrations and Israeli governments have disagreed about settlements, but we agreed that the Security Council was not the place to resolve this issue. We knew that going there would make negotiations harder and drive peace further away. And as I told John Kerry on Thursday, friends don't take friends to the Security Council. I'm encouraged by the statements of our friends in the United States, Republicans and Democrats alike. They understand how reckless and destructive this UN resolution was. They understand that the Western Wall isn't occupied territory. I look forward to working with those friends and with the new administration when it takes office next month.
Mr. Netanyahu there. Well, earlier, the BBC's Middle East analyst, Alan Johnston, explained Israel's reaction.
This was a really big moment at the UN on Friday night, real diplomatic drama. Year after year, we've watched the Americans use their veto to protect Israel against resolutions of this kind, but not this time. Suddenly, the Israelis found themselves without a friend in the world on that very important diplomatic stage, and the message that the international community sent could hardly have been stronger. It condemned the Israeli settlement building project in the occupied territories as illegal and a flagrant violation of international law. Now, the Israelis see the legal position entirely differently. They are not going to accept that verdict for one moment. They argue that they're endlessly mistreated by the UN, which they say is biased against Israel again and again. So you see the Israelis now on a major diplomatic offensive, and the reprimanding of the ambassadors on Christmas Day is just one front. Mr. Netanyahu also has the UN itself in his sights. He's ordered a review of all his country's relations with the world body, and some funding will be cut to some of its agencies. One of the smaller countries behind the moving of that resolution on Friday, Senegal, has felt Israel's wrath too. Economic funding for aid projects there has been cut. So Israel showing that diplomatically and economically it is hitting back.